This rig didn't offer a lot of flexibility. So there was a lot of like, okay, we're gonna send it up and it's gonna do the thing it can do and hopefully we like it. Alex is very demanding. He has great taste and high expectations. It was only 2 days, which I think feels tight, all that intricate working of the puzzle. If you scrub back just a little bit, hold about there, that's about what was real. So there was a pulley system in the ceiling. They would push the dolly on the track that would raise the camera. There's like a guy back there with a rig sliding that bar in and out to sort of look mechanical. It's got a little baby projector inside.
So sick.
I was like, we could get the Alexa over here and rig it and do the proper thing, or I can shove the Blackmagic against the wall and we can shoot it in 2 minutes and then move on. I was trying to get them to knock more glass blocks out of the wall so I could have a bigger hole to light through.
Yeah, what were your lights for this?
I believe they were aperture like 1,000 somethings. It's what we could afford. It's probably not what I would have chosen.
What would you have chosen? How would this shot look differently if Dustin Lane had everything he wanted to work with that day?
Hey, it's Dylan. Frameset did it again. They've added a new lane to the highway of speed. So unless your internet connection is trash, you can search, save, and share faster than ever. There's also this new thing called subsets. Like folders within a folder, you can organize any set by scene, technique, lighting style, you get it. Finally, we all know how important collaboration is when it comes to filmmaking. So now you can create a workspace, build sets together, and share your highly curated folders of inspiration to your DP, your director, your crew, your therapist, my therapist. Right now, Frameset is focused on these incremental changes that make it easier and easier to develop your ideas before you shoot them. See exactly what I mean with the link below.
Well, welcome Dustin Lane. I know this is your day off, so thanks so much for joining me.
Thanks for having me.
So Dustin, we've got a job to do here, and that's to understand how you guys made this eerie and beautiful music video for Leon Vynehall, Cruel Love.
Cruel love, you're dangerous, how can I trust you? Cruel love, still I want more. Cruel love, you're dangerous, how can I trust you? Cruel love, still I want more.
I feel like we're looking at a beautifully executed sci-fi drama here. And when I look at this genre, this sci-fi genre as a whole, I just think expensive.
Typically, yeah.
What were your thoughts when you were approached with this?
I would probably say my last collaboration with Alex and Vynehall was for, I think we shot it in like 2017 or 18. It was a couple of pieces. One of them took place in a diner, and it was sort of this, like idiosyncratic moments, day in the life sort of thing, and the music's so beautiful. And I'd say that's probably one of the projects I get hit up about more than anything. So when this came back around and it was like sort of getting the band back together, I was really excited, but I was also like, okay, it sort of feels like pressure. Like, can we make something that sort of lives up to the things we did before? And so it was exciting, but it felt like pressure for sure. And I hadn't done a music video in almost 5 years. The last one that I did was also with Alex for Sam Dew, and we shot those in probably the fall of 2020. So yeah, I'd just been away from that world, which was also exciting, but also, yeah, felt like pressure.
Was part of that born out of just like the imagery and knowing what the budget was? I mean, you don't need to tell me, but I can't imagine this was a huge budget.
It was not a huge budget. And I mean, yeah, that's definitely a part of it. Alex is very demanding. He has great taste and high expectations. And sometimes, time, money, all those things can hinder that. And So we're always trying to think smart and figure out how to get the most out of a little, and all that intricate working of the puzzle, sort of.
Yeah. I mean, what's a big thing you guys did to make the most out of a little?
I mean, we were very dialed in with our shot list, with our plan. Alex does beautiful hand-drawn storyboards, and for the most part, we stuck to those and figured out how to interpret them in the best way. But in any given chunk of time, we knew exactly how many shots we needed, and we knew when we could maybe get inspired and go off the path a little bit versus, hey, we really just got to like move through this to make sure we're on time for the next phase. Because it was only 2 days,
Wow.
which I think feels tight.
It's tight
For a music video anyway, like for a narrative sort of thing, it feels tight. There was different technical, like for the pulling up shot, that sort of, we had to sort of stop down and technically move some things around to achieve that. That was a little bit of time suck out of our day that we couldn't avoid, and there was just a few logistical things like that we were working around. So it made those 2 days feel even shorter.
So I want to just pull some of this apart with you, like this living space, this establishing scene here. I mean, what did you think when you first saw this location?
I mean, it was absolutely perfect. The glass block, the sort of texture and tone of the wall, like it all just felt perfect.
Big fan of those, by the way, those glass blocks. You guys broke one out for that, so this wasn't a studio location. This was a real life location.
Yes, this was a real warehouse of some sort. It was basically an abandoned space, and the door that he walks through there was a wall built by production design. Great duo named Slow Pulse did the project. It was phenomenal work. So this room is essentially a very large rectangle, and then we created the wall to make it more of a square. Those shelves were sort of our placeholder for where that wall would be built.
Wow. So production design built that whole wall. I mean, they seem to have done a lot here. I'm just trying to imagine what this project would be without that team, the art department and production designers.
Oh yeah, I mean they gave us the world. It was amazing.
I feel like it would just be like an empty concrete room and some gritty sand dunes.
Yeah, they really brought it to life. I was so impressed. I think I took this photo the first day I was there, and it was maybe just 3 days later that the space was done, and we were getting ready to shoot.
Hey, question. You sent me this video. What's going through your head right here when you walk into this room?
I mean, I'm stoked. I'm a big fan of. I think if I can believe the reality that I'm shooting something in, that's going to translate to the viewer. Obviously, there's times when you can only afford to build the reality right up to the edges of your screen, and I've definitely been there, and you make it work, and a lot of times if you do that smartly, the viewer has no idea. But when I myself can be fully immersed in it, that I just know that's gonna come through, and this was a full immersion. Like everything was purposeful, everything was considered. It was a full 3-dimensional space.
Yeah, I imagine that affords you some more opportunities on the day when you're shooting. How much, you said that Alex shows up, and I know because I've talked to him before, he's very specific with what he wants. And I imagine you guys showed up with a pretty dialed in shot list, but having the space and the opportunity of it literally being 360 available to shoot, did you guys break apart from your original plan because of how shootable the space was, for lack of a better term?
I wouldn't say it totally broke it apart, but it definitely added. It was like what Alex had designed was amazing, and then like what the space afforded us to get on top of that was, just amazing bonus.
What's another thing that they did with this shoot that like surprised you a little bit or made you as stoked as you were to walk in this room and see this set?
I wasn't totally sure, in these first days of showing up. The prep for this one was tough because Alex was doing another job in Canada at the time. I was on some other job, and we were trying to sort of communicate as information was coming in, but there was a lot of details that I didn't really get until I was on the ground, and I wasn't aware of how much of it was going to be practical, in terms of like what we call the dream machine, the arm that comes out of the wall. I was worried that was going to have to be a combination of some practical, some VFX or whatever, and I mean they built all that. It was the wall, the other side of that wall just went to the outside, so they just straight up cut a hole in it, and there's like a guy back there with a rig sliding that bar in and out to sort of look
No
mechanical. Way. Yeah.
I thought that was VFX. That's insane.
No, yeah. It's it's got a little baby projector inside. They did such a great job.
What's outside that window there, lighting this? It's so even, so big. What was it?
So that was we tinted the window because the sun would have hit it at some point, and we wanted everything in this first section to feel like it was an overcast day. So this is just a big ultra bounce tint with a couple of sky panel 360s in there.
Now, I mean, obviously in the scene, this is single source lighting where all the light should be coming from the window. But on the day, while shooting in this room for this scene, did you do anything to like wrap that light or to kind of work with that illusion?
No, in fact, I was having to put big flags up to sort of cut it and try to shape it more. Like there's a shot where I'm sort of on the window side, shooting him sitting on the bed as he's like plucking from the paper and just trying to get shape in the room. Like before I had anything, like the whole floor was lit up. You didn't feel any fall off.
Oh man, I bet that concrete just returned all that light.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean that shot's probably quite a bit of my negative on the day mixed in with some slick sort of dodging and burning from Mike Howell, our colorist as well.
What do you mean by dodging and burning?
Probably I think there's a little bit of post vignette helping bring that life down.
Yeah.
This whole sequence, I mean, a lot of this stuff we did shoot with 2 cameras. We had our main camera was I'm such a Sony Venice fan, but they didn't have any in the country, so we got an Arri LF, a mini LF, and then I had bought a Blackmagic Pixis.
Cool.
To use as like an insert camera for another project, and I brought that along here, and I told Alex, I was like, don't pay attention to this camera at all. Like, don't think about what it's doing. We're just gonna set it down in some places that might give us something extra. And I'm stoked on what we got out of it.
Yeah, it's never the most important thing, but it matters. The camera setup, the package that you choose to look through, right? Anything else about your decisions? I mean, what lenses did you guys shoot?
These were Canon K35, or sorry, not K35s. They're the Canon FDs, which sort of are essentially the K35s. A few of them are the exact glass that went into the K35 set, and then there's a few other ones. I can't say that would have been my first choice. Something with a little bit more natural contrast might have been helpful here, but we were limited by what was available in the country as far as full frame and something with character. They had they had Supreme primes and other things like that, but I knew that something so clean wasn't going to make sense.
Yeah.
But I mean, these are great. Like they're you're never going to go wrong with that sort of era Canon glass.
Before we move on from this scene, I do want to talk about what went into this massive Ascension shot. I mean, obviously it stops being practical, the camera, and goes to being VFX at some point, but until VFX grabs it, just break this down for me. What went into this shot?
So, I mean, yeah, this was obviously, it was in the treatment. It was, I think this was like one of the sort of anchor shots of the film in Alex's mind. It really sets a tone for what all follows. I think the camera sort of going on its journey helps you as the viewer commit to that journey as well.
Yeah.
And we had done, again, to go back to the older work with Leon Vynehall, we had done a descending shot in an alleyway through some like clotheslines before. And this was like, again, it was like 2017 or 2018. That was done with like a Ronin hanging off a cherry picker, a condor. And that's still sort of the best way to do this on a budget.
Yeah.
But it's not perfect. It wobbles, it sways. It's very finicky. It was a frustrating moment, to be honest. I think Alex and I are so tactile. Like you wanna have the camera in your hands or under your control,
Sure.
because that means you're like making something happen. And then when you have to sort of give the set over to your team that's rigging this stuff up, and like on the other side of our wall where the door was built, we basically had a long run of dolly track. So there was a pulley system in the ceiling that, they would push the dolly on the track that would raise the camera.
Oh, I see.
And we had two runs of cable to try to get it as stable as possible.
Yeah, I was going to ask, because you see the full room. You're not seeing any stands or any cherry picker base or anything like that.
Yeah, it was all installed into the ceiling. They did that on a pre-rig day. And I would say if you go back, if you scrub back just a little bit, hold about there, or a little go the other direction now, a little bit more. That's about what was real.
Okay.
That's about how high we actually got it.
So obviously you guys used the wonders of VFX in here more than once, this being one of them. This shot that we go into during this transition, what was this? When did you guys shoot that?
So this is basically what you see outside of the hole is real. We put him up on a piece of wall that was inside the space to be able to shoot him against the ceiling, and VFX just basically created the hole through which we're seeing him.
What else was VFX in here that really helped make this piece?
One shot I'm super excited about that I don't know if anyone's picked up on it, at least not to me. There's a shot towards the end of the film before he runs back into the sand dune world.
I was going to ask about this one, dude, because that concrete texture of those walls does not match the world.
So that's totally a miniature.
Wow.
With a window pasted in, and obviously him running pasted in. We shot a plate of him running, and then that trench that he's running in is only actually 2 or 3 feet tall and
Cool.
maybe 4 or 5 feet long. And
So
we just
sick.
we stuck an LED panel on the wall to shoot it, and then that was erased in post and replaced with a window. And if you look at the top left of frame, there's bolts coming through that concrete that we didn't. we tried to address, and nothing that we did looked right, and so we were just like, someone will see it, and it'll be like a little wink to what we did.
Well, honestly, Dustin, I mean, I noticed it, but before I noticed it, I just realized that this shot felt really surreal in a way. I think the fact that it is a miniature and there are some tells helps make him feel so small in the frame.
Another just brilliant thing that our production designer did is he brought like a little chair, like a little doll furniture chair, and like placed it in the trench for us. It was great.
What about this little LSD tab? Did he really put that on his eye?
No, that's a comp as well. He trying to remember exactly how we did it. I think we basically shot him holding his eye open, and then we shot another plate with a fake eye that the tweezers could come in and place the tab on.
Wow. Dude, seamless. I never would have known. What about these crabs? Are these crabs real?
They're not, and we really tried our best to get real crabs. And this is all props to our producer Fred, who was just a great sort of cheerleader for the project. He was just so supportive and just pushed for all the right things all across the board, and he tried desperately to get us real crabs. And there was some sort of religious holiday that was keeping a lot of commercial fishermen from working, and they finally tracked down, like 2 countries away, some people that were prepared to try to get us crabs, and they were secured, and there was discussion of how they were going to get smuggled across, I think, 2 borders, and unfortunately in the journey the crabs did not make it. It wasn't meant to be. So this was some more VFX brilliance, and I mean they turned out so great, and I think the little moments of interaction, like here on the chain, like there's no way we would have been able to replicate that with a real crab, you know, like the shot at the end where one sort of crawls by his face. That image was for sure in the storyboards, as well as when he sort of collapses and he's laying there and a crab is walking by. That was one of Alex's original storyboards as well. And that moment with the chain that pans up to his face or tilts up to his face was sort of just something we did in the moment. And getting that crab in there to interact was such a nice touch.
Having the budget in mind, when you guys realized you couldn't actually shoot the crabs for real, were you a little bit like, how are we going to afford to animate crabs?
I try not to think about those things too much. I try to stay in dreamer mode when I can, and not be too affected by those sorts of conversations. But I mean, yeah, for sure, we didn't know what we were going to do, and Ian Ponsjewel, who the owner of Prodco, where Alex is repped, he was doing something else in the region, and he came by on our first day of shooting when we were hearing that the crabs weren't going to make it for our second day, which was this sand world. And Ian was so casual. He's like, "Oh, we'll get crabs. Like, don't worry. Like, we'll call up somebody and get some crabs." So he seemed pretty fine with that route, you know. And so you sort of have to trust. And obviously, they came through because they look great.
I mean, a production company like Prodco, basic question here, but what does a production company usually provide a project like this?
I feel like it should be more common, and was more common in a different time, maybe. But you know, like production companies should be investing in their directors. You know, and that's absolutely what Prodco did here with Alex. Like, you know, they knew it was going to be great. They knew if Alex could do his thing and sort of work in the way he wants to work, he's going to make you know, a great thing. And the song was great, and his collaboration with Tom, the artist, is, you know, strong, and I think everyone could look at it and be like, yeah, this is worth investing in, you know, and they did, and that's why the budget went as far as it did, you know.
Yeah.
And even just our Inkenny Films in Georgia was our service production, and they came on board because of their connection to Prodco, and you know, it wasn't treated like this was just some music video. It was, you know, everyone on the prep days, it was like it was a commercial in terms of the level of focus and attention. It wasn't just some little throwaway project. Everyone was really taking it seriously, which is great. You can't always expect that across the board, you know.
When I look at the behind the scenes, I can just tell by everyone's energy that they're they're in. Before we move on, I want to break back into this shot here. I think it's one of the most iconic shots of the whole piece.
That's another just actual hole that the production designers put in the wall. It was incredible. That hole led into another room, and we were able to build a big basically a big softbox book light in there, and the source is dimming with a little color change, and then when you cut to the next frame that just sees the window, now that's some VFX takeover, blending you into this real shot that was captured at Blue Hour in the sand dunes. We did this shot a couple of times through Blue Hour fading to night, and I think that's what you're seeing there is overlays of the previous sky captures into the final frame.
Gotcha. Amazing. Like, going into this sand world here, honestly, when I first saw this, I thought it was like an interior because of the way the lighting is, because the way it just drops to full black. Like, I thought we were in a big enclosed space, which was really surreal for me. Was that the goal going in?
I mean, surreal was definitely the goal. And, you know, this space in the film, the idea of this space, I think when Alex was writing the treatment, you know, he didn't know where he was going to be shooting. We didn't know what we were going to have access to. So this sort of liminal space, as it was in the treatment, was very adaptable to what we could end up with. And at one point in time, there was a massive abandoned tunnel in Georgia that we were maybe going to have access to, and so we you know, Alex got to scout it before I'd arrived, and I'd seen pictures of it, and we were sort of wrapping our heads around that and what that could be. And then there was some sort of political things that kept us from being able to get in there, and these sort of like larger quarry type of spaces was also something that Alex had been hovering around. And when we saw this space, we knew it could substantiate the scene. That, you know, we knew we had enough to work with. And yeah, then it just became about how can we light it in an interesting way to add to that surreal feeling, again, on a budget.
Yeah. What were your lights for this?
I believe they were aperture like 1,000 somethings. They were full RGB. I had two condors with three each. It's what we could afford. It's probably not what I would have chosen.
Yeah. What would you have chosen?
Well, you know, typically if I was going into something like this with a bigger like commercial sort of budget, I mean, for one, you could have probably afforded a third lift just to have even more depth in the image, and I would have been able to probably I would have mixed in probably a few more punchier sources to have a little bit more, you know, just full control of maybe putting an edge here or there if I wanted it, or you know, there's just this rig didn't offer a lot of flexibility. So there was a lot of like, okay, we're going to send it up and it's going to do the thing it can do, and hopefully we like it, you know. And yeah, it worked out great. I mean, I think the shapes of the dunes and the different sort of natural like light to dark fall off that provided, you know, that image there was also shot with a pretty heavy indie vignette filter. So it's like helping that light fall off as well. It sort of helps it feel like it's almost following him.
I mean, while we're talking about this shot, how would this shot look differently if Dustin Lane had everything he wanted to work with that day?
I mean, I wouldn't want it to look differently. I love this image. And I don't remember, there was, when this is what we landed on, and we knew it was probably going to be in somewhere in this sort of gold neighborhood of colors, I'd found this image from some fat old fashion campaign that that had a similar feeling, and I remember showing it to Alex, and I was like, this is what I think that should feel like, and I think I achieved that with this.
Yeah. The color's awesome. What is it? What do you call it?
You know, I think with monochromatic worlds, it puts a lot of stress on what that one chroma is.
Sure.
And we knew we needed to embrace something in the warmer spectrum because of the natural color of the dunes themselves. There was a few different materials, but they were all sort of a beigey to browny yellow sort of world. And obviously it's a single colored source light, and that there were times when it felt too yellow, or there was just a magic that wasn't quite there for us in the raw footage, and our colorist Mike Howell just really did a fantastic job on the whole project, but specifically these scenes. I feel like the exact hue that he found of what the sand feels like, but not losing some of the great subtle costuming choices. Like I love the woman's like sort of maroon like bone marrow coat. Like the color is so subtle, but like right there, like the way it marries with the dunes, I think is so nice. And Mike really helped us find that separation, that subtle separation in post.
Yeah. Did Mike help you guys feel a way about this scene in the end that you weren't feeling when you walked away? Like I can imagine you and Alex sitting around the monitor going, "Oh man, this actually looks really sick because of the color."
Yeah. I mean, when Mike did his first pass, there was a lot where it was like, wow, okay, that really tied it all together. I think we were worried that the different phases of the narrative didn't feel as harmonious as we'd hoped, and I think there's something he did that just really married it all together.
It looks like you guys shot something in the day for this scene. How did you guys schedule that?
So this was the first stuff we did when we arrived. Our first day was all in the concrete block room. Second day was half in that concrete block room where we shot the sunlit sequences that are at the end of the film. We did those on day 2, and we did the stuff where he sits at the viewing window as well on day 2, and then we had the company move to this place, which was thankfully only like 20 minutes away, or maybe less from the warehouse we were in. And this shot was the first thing we shot when we arrived. And so we basically laid dolly track for this. As soon as we felt good about it, we bounced to the other side of the dunes, basically where that sun is coming from. We ran over there and placed track for the shot that introduces you to the sand dunes, and that was sort of how we shared Blue Hour. As we bounced between those. We shot this first, and what you're seeing is a little bit of our daylight take, or more daylight take, blended into the Blue Hour take, obviously in reverse to give you the sunrise.
It's beautiful. One thing I love doing is looking at this behind the scene footage. Every time I look at it, I go, okay, there's a lot going on here. You know, if we just pause this frame here, like I see you here far right, like, what was going on here with all this busyness?
I mean, it was sort of chaos. It was, everyone's landing. Obviously the sun is setting. We're trying to just sort of scramble and figure out as much as we can before the light's right. and we need to start shooting. Because this was it, this was our last chunk of the video, and this section was what, especially once we went into True Night, this section was the most crunched, I think, for what we needed to accomplish in the amount of time that we had.
Yeah. I want to talk about this bomb situation. Obviously, that's a production design move. Can you just tell me a little bit about what it was like making that thing and then getting it out to the sand dunes and shooting with it?
It was surprisingly light, and they did such a great job of it having so much visual weight, but it wasn't very cumbersome for them to deal with, and the chain as well. Yeah, just really, really fantastic prop. This is one that where we really didn't change a thing. Like sort of what he imagined it to be is what it is.
It's always fun when it ends up that way, huh?
Oh, it's awesome. Yeah. Typically the idea of just shooting the boards is can be so sterile. But Alex put so much thought into it that it really becomes like such a great challenge to interpret them,
Yeah, and especially when you're faced with like mishaps, things you weren't really expecting, and then trying to figure out how to navigate those and still make the very specific vision you have going in. What a challenge. Okay, this shot, this behind the scene image here, I see you lining this up. Were you lining it up just to kind of get an idea of what it would look like, or were you actually shooting this here?
I was actually shooting it. Yeah, that was one of those times where, just for the sake of speed, I was like, we could get the Alexa over here and rig it and do the proper thing, or I can shove the Blackmagic against the wall and we can shoot it in 2 minutes and move on. And
I love it.
That's what we needed to do to keep it moving.
What did Alex think of that, being so specific with his vision?
I mean, Alex likes to move fast. That sunrise stuff at the end of the video, it was tough because there's mirrors everywhere redirecting all that light, and as soon as you want to move camera, there's a forest of stuff in your way,
Yeah, speaking of that forest, I wanted to ask you about this image here, because like I can't even tell what's going on here.
Yeah, I mean that's basically the sun hit on the wall on the left of frame. Was really coming through the hole, the glass block hole that was created, and then everything else that's supposed to sort of feel like more of that scattering had to be created from inside. I was trying to get them to knock more glass blocks out of the wall so I could have a bigger hole to light through, and because this was the last time we wouldn't have needed to see the wall again, so it would have been continuity wise fine. And at one point they were like, I think if we take another block out, it's going to collapse. And I was like, all right, well, let's not do that.
Hey, question. These reflector situations here, what are those? I know a lot of people are using these little guys now.
I don't remember the main brand that sort of originated all this is Lightbridge CRLS. It's a DP, Christian Berger, who's like Michael Haneke's guy, developed this along with his gaffer. But now there's several other brands, and I don't remember exactly what these were. But yeah, the CRLS stuff that's something I'll always ask for. I love lighting with mirrors. It just adds such a sense of naturalism to me. I love the idea of turning one source into like 2 or 3 different things. I think the more you can sort of like randomize and scatter light, the more real it feels, or the more natural it feels. And I feel like the mirrors are just such a great way to do that.
Yeah, I think this is an example of a great use of those things. Okay, what else about this piece, man, that really stands out to you as something you look back on and go, wow, we really made some magic here?
I think what I love about it is it's. I think it's tough to point at any particular image. I mean, obviously, I love the ascending shot. I love the shot when he's laying on the dune and the sun rises, and there's a lot of sort of set piece type of moments that I like, but I really think it's how it all works as a whole that I'm so proud of. It feels like a complete idea,
Yeah.
When I can convince myself it's a complete idea, that always means I did something right, I think.
I mean, music videos in general with your career, because I know you've been at this for a bit. What's your thought on, like, how many music videos do you shoot these days?
I mean, I did this one and one other one this year, and that's coming off of 5 years of none. I'd like to do more for sure. I think it's still an area where creativity can be really high. Obviously, there's crazy politics that can get involved if you're dealing with certain artists or labels or all that sort of business. But yeah, I mean, I think it's a great place to have some freedom, that you don't get to have in a commercial setting.
What are you excited to work on? Like, where are you wanting to take your career now? What's been keeping you busy?
I think I think where I want my career to go is I'd like to shoot a film a year, probably, that I really care about and that I think might mean something to someone. And then outside of that, commercials, short form, music videos, anything that's exciting with exciting collaborators,
Yeah. Dustin, I'm just such a big fan of your work, and I'm just like kind of looking at the landscape that we are in these days, looking at the future of it. I'm not going to say those two letters next to each other, but how are you feeling about, the trajectory of this medium?
I think the definitely the AI fear mongering's a huge thing, right? And I think it's easy to imagine a future where all the creative work that we all get to do as filmmakers goes away, because I think sadly the people that are on some mountain somewhere paying for all this to happen will want to stop doing that when they think it can be made for cheaper or free. But I think audiences are gonna. I think maybe people underestimate how an audience is gonna reject that. I don't think people want to listen to AI music. I don't think people want to watch AI films. I think people want to see and hear other humans that are hurting and loving and doing all those same things that they are. I just don't think a machine can do that. I'm sure there's certain areas, like it's no doubt going to vastly change VFX.
Yeah.
And obviously in ways that take people out of work. There's no doubt about it. But hopefully we can find a way to sort of harness it to further the creativity and not quiet it.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, because when I look at you and your work, you're no doubt someone who knows how to take a camera, a hunk of metal with a piece of glass on the front of it, and make images from it. And I just can't imagine you doing anything else, really. I think it's going to be a genre wherever it goes. The old way of doing things, if you will be a genre of art that many people will always desire.
And if not, I'm gonna start building furniture or something.
Yeah, I would do woodworking, or I would like build properties. I'd probably go into architecture because those things don't exist. It would definitely be something outside of the realm of creating for something to be viewed on a screen.
Yeah, it is bizarre. to like turn to the screen as a way to feel human. Like it's sort of like that's the antithesis of it, actually, you know.
Right.
But when something that I always think about is when COVID shut everything down in 2020, especially in LA. Everything just went super quiet, and for the first month or so of that, I just leaned into it. But then I got bored and I wanted to be making something, regardless of the end game for it, and so, I started shooting because I love doing it. So even if there's no industry behind it, I'm still going to have to do it somehow.
Even if no one wants to look at what you're making?
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to do it for me. I think it's something I need. And then if people enjoy it beyond that, then that's great. That's great too,
Yeah, that's a whole other question. It's like, why do we do this? Do we do it for us or for other people? Because, I mean, truly, when I'm making a thing, like I'm making it because I love the process of making it so much. But at the end of the day, I want someone else to be able to digest what I've made and go, oh, I get it. Okay, this makes sense. Or I feel something, So I think making it, it's an interesting duality there of like, am I making it for me or someone else?
I'm selfish. I'm definitely making it for me.
This makes me think of a rando question I have for you, but what do you think success looks like for a filmmaker in general, whether they be a director or DP? What is success?
I think success for me specifically looks like making a few things a year that I'm really proud of, that make me feel something for myself, and hopefully makes other people feel something about their life. And then being able to be at home with my wife and kids, and not to be a stranger, in that regard.
Yeah.
I think it's really easy to sort of keep chasing after something, especially like in the freelance nature of filmmaking. It's easy to keep wondering what's around the corner, and sort of the tendency to never want to be still.
Yeah.
And I think I quite like being pretty still. I just we had our second child in June, and I took 2 months off of work to be at home during that time, and it was a dream.
I think people are afraid of stillness. I'm afraid of stillness, like chronically. Like if I'm sitting around, I can't stand myself, I'm hoping I can fix that one day.
I think I feel it as a parent now, because I have a 4-year-old as well. But I also think social media and sort of just the way of our society, like it makes it really easy for you to feel guilty when there's nothing to do. I think everyone's trying to just plug every moment of their day with doing something or achieving something. And I just want to float. I just want to, I just want to like exist in space with low stakes. I don't know, I think that's important. It's so important for our lives. You can't have the storm without the calm.
Dang, yeah. Yeah, you're right about that. You're right about that. There's also burnout you got to worry about.
Yeah, and coming up, from the time that we found out we were pregnant. I mean, we were planning for it, but I knew, I was like, okay, I'm gonna want to take time off to be with my family when this new baby comes. I also knew most likely that this film was going to be starting soon after that, and I was like, all right, I need to I sort of need to work like crazy right now so that I can afford to take the time off, afford to go do an independent film that doesn't pay like what a commercial can pay. And, you know, I had this like deadline in mind of like, this is when I'm going to stop working for this chunk of time. And, you know, there was times when I would fly home, spend one night in my bed, and then like 7 or 8 a.m. the next morning, I'm back at the airport, and I'm just sitting there like, oh my God, I can't, like I'm ready to, you know, I'm ready to check out. Like I was getting there. I was feeling it hard.
How do you pace yourself on say a feature where you're shooting for 15 to 30, 45, 60 days?
I mean, I've only done indie films, and I sort of feel like, and I think it's self-imposed more than the job making you feel this way. But it's like from the second I got here on the ground, I'm like, you know, I want to be capturing it. I want to be seeing it. I want to be doing it. So like we're shooting this film's on 35, and I brought my I've got an Arri 435, so I flew out with that, and like literally day 2 of in prep, I'm shooting B-roll. You know, I'm shooting atmosphere of the town, and so I don't pace myself. I feel like a film feels like a marathon. Like I'm, you know, when we're done here, I'm gonna go eat lunch, and then I'm gonna shoot B-roll.
There's a big difference between Dustin with a camera running around town getting B-roll and being on set with 30 people and needing to put a lot of energy into one shot. Which one's more fulfilling? That's a silly question, right? But there's a difference, yeah?
There's a huge difference. And you know, I was the director that I'm working with. Her name is Rachel Lambert. She's brilliant. She comes from a theater background, which is so cool because she just brings way different sensibilities with actors, you know, to the table, and she's very trusting with the, you know, the camera side of things. Like she lets me see it how I want to see it for the most part. And we were having this conversation where, you know, I was talking about how jealous I was of a photographer or a painter that's working in isolation. And as much as I love the collaborative nature of filmmaking, I think there's something, you know, like when you look at like an Andrew Wyeth painting, it feels singular. It feels like one person made this, you know,
Yeah.
or like a William Eggleston photograph, like one person made that.
Yeah.
And I'm always trying to figure out like, how can I make this image within a film? How can I like make everyone else sort of fall away and make it feel like one voice?
Yeah.
And that's tough. But I love the challenge of it. And, you know, I think at times when I get to go out on my own, and I'm able to blend something that I would captured, you know, in the wild of the world, and then that can go next to something that was more, you know, a more fictionalized image within the film. Like it adds, I think it adds some legitimacy to that. I think it helps to blend in a sense of realism.
100%. I mean, I can say confidently that your pursuit of that has a lot to do with the way your work looks and feels.
I don't know that I'll ever get there, but the searching for it, I think, is exciting, you know.
Half of the fulfillment I get out of making anything, dude, is the searching for it. The discovery part of it is so fun.
Like one of my favorite things to shoot that I've been doing a lot here is, you know, whenever you have a hard sun with like rolling clouds, and you can watch that change happen, you know, within a 30-second time frame or whatever. I'm like, I never get tired of that. I get, you know, it's like I'm like like a cat to a toy or something. I'm just like, I got to shoot it. I got to,
Well, dude, sometimes it happens in 15 seconds. Sometimes I'm surprised about how quickly that transition can happen.
like I think your interview with Ollie, where he's talking about his obsession with shooting eyes.
Yeah.
I think mine is weather. I'm really attracted to weather and changing weather.
That makes a lot of sense looking at your work.
Yeah, I'm always trying. I'll always dream up a few things, and then I go around to like my director friends, and I try to pitch them those things. I'm like, hey, we should work this into something,
We'll see them when you make them.
Yeah, I've got some ideas.
Well, with that, Dustin, thanks so much. This has been great.
Oh man, thank you. It's been a blast. I'm so glad I could be a part of it.